Well, from an education perspective, I'm a scientist and an engineer. And from a personal perspective, I was a little kid who watched Neil and Buzz step on the moon, and I thought, man, I want to do that someday. And so you throw both of those into the blender, and what do you get? You get a sci-fi
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
fiction, and there are some interesting, in my opinion, anomalies. I love Star Trek and Star Wars, but the, when Star Trek travels, they do what's called warping space, and the as a graduate student of physics, warping space takes an infinite amount of energy. And so Scotty may say the antimatter, blah 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 is the techno jargon, but I think that when we actually travel to distant stars and ultimately to distant galaxies, we're not going to do it by warping space. We're going to do it another way. And there is a theoretical particle in physics called the tachyon that travels faster than light. And uh, and so that's part one. And part two, all of the sci-fi nerds now know the term quantum entanglement. And with quantum entanglement, you can have a particle on this side of the Milky Way galaxy and 200,000 light years away on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. The two can communicate instantaneously. Well, at the speed of light, it would take 200,000 years for a radio signal to cross the galaxy, but they do it somehow instantaneously. How is that? And,
Yeah.
and so that was the genesis of, okay, let's create a science fiction story where travel changes. It's not warping space. It's not rocket engines that go faster and faster and faster. It is another method, and that's the Tachyon Tunnel.
That's super cool. Well, that sounds amazing. So I know that everybody's going to want to know now, what is your Tachyon Tunnel series about, and how did you come up with this idea? We talked about that a little bit, but I know people are going to really want to know, like, what's the story about, and what are the characters doing?
Yeah. Well, the first two books in the series are related, but you don't have to read the first one to read the second
Cool.
one. And in a few weeks, we're going to release the third one, but you do have to read the second one to understand the third one. And
Good
when
to
the
know.
fourth one comes out next year, you'll have to have read the first two, or
Mm.
the second one and third one. So you always have to have a background. A lot of what I want to talk about in the book is cool science, great interpersonal relationships, and tie them all together in things that people will go, wow. And so I created the bad guy as the Declan Empire that's ruled the galaxy for 50 million years. And they're ruthless and brutal, and you do it their way, or they completely exterminate all life on your planet. So that's the perfect bad guy. It's sort of like the Star Wars Death Star on steroids, right? And there's so many other little fun and fundamental stories built into it. And I'll give you a really good example. In our solar system, we have three planets that should have life. Why doesn't Mars have life? And did it at one time. And Venus is the same thing. Everybody thinks about Venus and goes, well, Venus is the hottest place in the solar system next to the sun. And even though Mercury is closer to the sun, Venus is hotter. And the answer to why Venus is hotter is really simple. It rotates very, very slowly. So I'm in Texas.
Mm.
In the summertime, when we have these 12-hour, 13-hour days, the sun is in the sky for a long time and it gets really hot. Imagine the sun being in the sky for 100 days or more. That's what happens on Venus. The Venus is rotating so slowly that the day is really, really, really long. And so it gets unbelievably hot there. But why is it rotating so slowly? It shouldn't be. And so in the second Tachyon Tunnel book, the ability to move into Tachyon tunnels can move you through space and time. So the explorers in the Tachyon Tunnel book go back in time and make the realization about why is Venus moving so slowly? It didn't used to. And why does Mars not have a magnetic field that protects it from the solar wind? And so That's one of the mysteries and one of the great stories in the book.